Battle started.
Hello again everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. We are back on the map Prismatic Anomaly. A little while since we've seen it for another 1v1. Now I quite like this map. It's just so atmospheric as we zoom on out. Just kind of, my camera control is terrible today. But yeah, I just love the look of the map. It's just so nice looking. Very atmospheric. And as we zoom over to the other player, as we actually use the controls a bit better here, we'll put the screen back on and we can see we have Rain versus rANDY. Now on this map there is no wind, so players are forced to invest into solar. And with that comes the cost of increased metal usage. Now the metal points on this map are quite nice, like 2.1, and you can see this like fluctuating here because he's like clicking really far out. That's the screen can't really cope with the zoom level. So if it does look weird, that's just because Rain's like zooming it in out really quickly, and this camera can't cope basically. But Rain's starting with a pretty build power intensive start here. 2 cons and then into his bots, playing his Cortex, going 8 grunts, 1 con, 15 grunts after that. As if we switch over here, Andy playing Armada vehicles and pushing out a huge quantity of scouts early on to try and find out where his opponent is. Now for those that don't know, as we zoom out here, the starter box on this map is actually not tab, this entire line down here. So you could start pretty much here, or where rANDY is as a triple mech spawn. So neither player knows where they are at the moment. Rain may have got a bit of an idea due to the fact that he saw scouts coming from, you know, a specific direction. And you can see how this guy is basically just pushed to go right down into this corner now as an attempt to try and see where they are. Now, you can see rANDY's got 2 radars up, but these pyramids do create quite a blind spot. So quite a lot more radars will be required than expected. A single scout has managed to get through from rANDY. It does get the metal extractor as well before getting killed, so that's delayed the expansion of Rain there a little bit. Rain has actually built an E converter. I guess at some point he was overflowing energy, but surely not by much. He's got 120 energy production plus the commander and plus the cons. And as we look actually on the minimap, we can see rANDY here positioning a whole bunch of scouts on the far side basically in an attempt to just try and deny any naked expansion that way. Oh, rANDY getting another scout in here to delay another metal extractor being made. That's that same metal extractor that was killed a minute ago. Gets delayed yet again, which is annoying for Rain. Meanwhile, a single blitz into grunt. The blitzes will win pretty much every time. So these singular grunts being out and about are not really doing too much of a favor for Rain here. 3 blitzes defending this double con expansion as well, with LLTs being built at every position here. Makes it really hard for Rain to actually do any form of aggression. Not only that, but rANDY pushing forward with his commander. Not micro thoroughly right. I don't quite know what this move is. His commander's moving to here, back to here, to here again. Meanwhile, he's microing his scouts. He does manage to pick up a constructor as well as that exact same metal extractor, delaying again rANDY's expansion, which is a significant loss. Getting the metal extractor. Doing a very, very good job here, rANDY. rAND does manage to get a single grunt through rANDY's defensive line, though, getting a metal extractor, but gets cleaned up very quickly. So far, rANDY with no build turret in his base and only 4 solars, as compared to on the opposite side here, Rain is still with his commander in base and has 10 solars. I say that, but rANDY's got a couple of solars, well, a single solar scattered around the place. Now, one of the reasons for that will be that rANDY's units require less energy to build. Vehicles require more metal than energy. So that's also why Rain requires more energy. In this sort of a map, though, it kind of evens out, because you have to spend metal on this map to get energy. So therefore, you're kind of not really losing anything. Oh, I missed this. rANDY losing both of his expansion constructors. And due to the fact that he is vehicles, he's not able to res that either, which is also why he's now pushed out a ton of cons, with 2 more going towards expansion now. rANDY's attempting to draw a line across the middle of the map with his commander here. Blitzes are starting to get whittled down just due to the quantity of grunts. They're doing fine so far, as long as rANDY doesn't get too greedy here. Looks like he's just planning on driving across the front in front of his commander. Picking up things as and when he can, but not really committing to any fight. Losing a single blitz is basically the equivalent of losing 2 grunts, especially if you don't get the metal. And on top of that, with your opponent being bots here, every kind of wreck you leave behind, in essence, is, you know, giving your opponent the unit. So you need to be careful. Walls built by Rain here to deny any movement through, which is a pretty good call. Forcing your opponent to go this way into where you have defenses. Would have been nice to see rANDY do a similar thing over here. Could have quite easily blocked that, forcing this to be the only way through. rANDY's expansion northwards has been pretty slow just with his commander. Now there are starting to be some constructors heading that way. Constructors heading left and north. Meanwhile, Rain only just starting to send a construction bot left after he lost the ones before. There is one in the center which is slowly building up some defensive LLTs here, defending the metal extractors right in the middle. But you can just see rANDY's comm here has just got a line planned of LLTs all the way across the center diagonal of the map. His plan is probably ideally to deny, you know, this side of the map from his opponent. Basically, he's going to want to ideally contain him like this. That gives rANDY the majority of the map. Puts him in a very good position. Now, with shurikens coming out, it's interesting because rANDY's going to start building some AA, which will make the shurikens somewhat useless. But more to the point is it denies a bombing run. Rain could have gone for a bombing run here, but instead decided to go shurikens. Shuriken's EMP in this thin defensive line of LLTs. There are no units here to support, so they could potentially push through. Rain didn't really gather enough forces, though, to make the most of this first, and therefore was not able to capitalize on that. Fighters already out and about now from rANDY. A very, very quick turnaround to stop them from happening. Not only that, but with the build power here, getting AA up pretty quickly. And the fighters there, yep, stop that being a problem. looking very strong from Randy right now. As we look at the actual numbers, though, Metasecond is a bit all over the place right now due to reclaim happening from these construction vehicles down here. But it is, now that they're not reclaiming, neck and neck still. Metal produced, though, is advantage Randy by 3 to 2k, 2 to 3k. Energy a second is pretty much neck and neck as well, but produced total is advantage Rain, but Rain does require additional energy, so that kind of makes sense. This scout down the bottom here would be able to pick up this guy if it kind of moved around a bit more. And this scout, as you can see here, just denying these metal extractors being built. If Randy was paying attention to it, which he is now, just doing that annoyance to stop this aircon from being able to do anything. Now with a shuriken coming over as well as a single grunt, that scout's time will be over, but still able to deny that. Both players now in the center building a front lab. Randy also adding bots here. Which is interesting that they've both decided to do it at the exact same spot. Rain, though, really struggling with energy, but Randy in a tremendously strong position with his energy needs. We look over his base now. He has a total of 25 solars, as opposed to his opponent, which has 21. But Rain does have 2 A solars. There was a bit of an attack attempt here by a few blitzes, but with enough shurikens here, it wasn't really a problem. That air constructor almost gets taken out, but not enough. Fighters come in. Not enough to save the blitz, unfortunately. And not enough fighters in general. Oh, no, there they go. More arrived. Shuriken and aircon dealt with. It doesn't really matter because this ground con is making its way across. Randy pumping out Centurions here versus Fugs from Rain. Rain already pumping out 3 construction bots here, though, to assist with the build power, meaning that Rain's comm is free to Fug walk. Down towards the base area, we see Rain attempting to do a bit of attack here, but it doesn't really pay off. A line of solars being built here in defense of this LLT. For those that aren't aware, if you shoot a solar, it closes up, and when it closes up, it makes itself a lot more tanky. And like basically doubles its armor, so it's tremendously valuable. 3 Centurions here pushing into Rain. Needs to be careful, Randy. These Centurions are looking a bit worse for wear here. They did manage to take out a couple of Fugs and not lose a Centurion, so that is valuable. But Randy looks like he's adding some maces into the mix here himself. There's a good raid, though, on the left-hand side here by Rain here. Managing to find some holes and take out the kind of expansion that was there. Blitz is moving over there. We'll make short work of it, but Randy kind of having to deal with multiple fronts here as this huge grunt force of 32 grunts are just trying to find a hole. Surprisingly, no beamers from Randy. Attempted self-destruct of an LLT goes awry and doesn't actually get anything. Now, bear in mind that Randy has no access to shurikens here, so stopping this is a little bit more difficult than expected. Stouts coming out. No Janisses. These 4 Fugs on the right just causing Randy some problems. And this grunt force is actually getting pretty far here. Rain, keep moving it. Keep moving it. Shurikens coming in to try and assist to make these units be able to do even more damage. Shuriken's diving really far in, considering fighters coming over from Randy to stop it. LLT's been rushed up. But unfortunately, the units of Rain unable to really do that much damage, only killing a couple of metal extractors on their march in. Total of 4 metal extractors, though, so far been destroyed by the thugs as well. Meanwhile, though, in the center, where both commanders actually are, Randy's majority of his force now sits with a huge mass of Centurion and Mace. Rain not helping his units, now only just starting to repair, but does not have a build power enough to keep this stuff going. Numerically, Randy does have the advantage, but he doesn't have the build power to keep his units going. But still, this like side raid that Rain's got going here is doing some damage, doing some work. It's just finding lone metal extractors and picking them off. Randy trying to push in here with some stouts, trying to do a bit of damage, but running into shurikens again. Fighters not here quick enough. Fighters now show up, but half of this force was already EMP'd. They do take out a significant force of grunts, but still not really too much to worry about. A HLT attempted here, almost completed by Rain. Rain realizes that ain't gonna happen. He almost manages to eat it. Twin guards going up as well, and Randy's force is starting to get quite diminished here in the center. No build power assisting this at all. I'm surprised. Oh, there's some build power there. Surprised Randy hasn't built a more forward comm turret here to try and keep his units healthy whilst they're fighting, because he is losing unit after unit. There is a resbot here that's sat on repair. Another HLT now attempting to be built. That will push Randy's forces quite a bit back. Randy having to build a beamer. Meanwhile, towards the base side, these stouts have attempted to continue pushing here, but even more shurikens causing problems. And now Randy having to push back. These tanks not really being able to do too much right now. Nice blitz force, though, moving around the flank will be able to do significant damage to Rain's economy as that flank gets destroyed. HLT did manage to get built. Randy is pushed further back here. Good pressure being inflicted here. This is forcing Rain to produce units from, well, would have been forcing Rain to produce units from his main, but instead he's actually started producing Tech 2 Air Lab in his main base, which is a bit risky considering he has no power at all. He's hoping he's getting most of this reclaim here, but instead it's not going to plan as he's losing multiple comms. Rain's forces are actually fallen back from that front line position. So is Rain's commander, hoping that this Tech 2 air transition is enough. But he also doesn't really have air superiority when it comes to fighters. And although these Tech 2 gunships have got quite a bit of health, you can see they're getting taken out pretty quickly here by the fighters. Twin guards being rushed up here in an attempt to try and stave off these tanks, but they're coming in from multiple angles now as the blitzers that were on the left-hand side managed to find a way around, hitting the actual main base here, the A-solars of Rain. And he's attempting to rush out fighters, which now with this sand build doesn't really need to happen. Randy actually turned the tanks around and attacking this sideline, trying to square off the commander, force the commander into a locked position, because at the end of the day, killing the base doesn't win you the game. You've got to kill the commander. Now, obviously, most people surrender when they lose their main base, but, you know, They could still push. Rain could still push into Randy. They could find his commander, assassinate him. He's got a couple of Tech 2 gunships. You know, that might be enough. Wow. There's just 2 Tech 2 constructors and there's like a blitz right there. Randy now doing very, very well for himself. Still not doing great on the energy front anymore. He's kind of massively overproducing stuff. Also pulling back his commander now, not wanting to risk it. He knows his opponent is Tech 2 air, expecting a snipe. Rain thinks the commander is over here as well, because that's where it was last located. But now, look how many AAs are being built here. 21 crossbows. But this is Randy's game to lose right now. He's in a very, very strong position. Rain has not been able to recap any of these mexes in the back. He's trying to do it now with the commander and this one con. Resbots are in the main base, resurrecting what's left here. But being Tech 2 air means you need a lot of energy, and Rain, unfortunately, does not have that right now. Trying to rush through some advanced solos to get that energy as quick as possible, but still not doing too well. We don't see Randy actually choosing to go Tech 2 himself here. Just building a lot of AA. Randy capitalizing on his lead here, pushing forward. The bot lab that was in the center for Rain did get eaten. And now the defenses in the front will start to crumble with no units there to heal them things up. Same with this bit of a fug ball that Rain's got. Rain forced to basically sit there with those units and keep them alive, otherwise he loses them entirely. This is a bit of an interesting choice. So, Rain losing ground all over the map. Started to build an Aphis, realized that is a terrible idea, and then stopped. As a metal extractor over here that was almost finished, but didn't actually finish it off, and then moved on. That was so close. So close, but no. A minute. Rain has the energy. Why aren't you finishing these off? If you know why Rain is just letting these decay in the comments, please let me know. Because he's almost finished 2 Tech 2 metal extractors here and then just stopped. Now, don't get me wrong. I know he's eating this up. Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I just like looked over to the map, saw the red wave of units from Randy here making their way across, and Rain's commander running for the hills, and Rain with no units left builds a heavy air transport here in an attempt to try and rescue his commander, which is fine. What's it gonna do though? The fact that he hasn't built this is just the fighters chasing him down. They're coming. Gotta land. And there goes your Tech 2 build power as the fighters swarm over the base. He's eating the solars, thinking that eating the solars was the quickest option of getting metal rather than finishing the metal extractors. But it's not gonna matter, as you can't win with just air alone. And now these forces are just gonna completely swarm Rain's base. And that'll be it. It was pretty close at one point there. Rain did some good raids, but after his main base got attacked, he was just not able really to bring it back. Randy did some very, very good zoning out of Rain. I think the Tech 2 transition, especially to air, was the wrong call. Like, completely the wrong call here. He basically forfeited all control of land, and with that, Randy was just able to push. So, well played, Randy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you all next time.